You tell yourself you're not going to react. You tell yourself you're going to stay calm. You tell yourself you're not going to take it personally. But then he takes a little bit longer than usual to reply. He's having an off day and isn't his usual self, and you immediately panic and you immediately assume you're being rejected. He's having an off day and you go to the worst case scenario and start thinking that he's going to leave. And all of these emotions and anxiety get the best of you. You react. You feel like you have overreacted and then you regret it after. If this is you, you might be anxiously attached. And this is why in this video, I'm going to be breaking down 10 signs you are anxiously attached, and we're going to explore what's happening underneath the surface. Make sure to watch till the end if you're really serious about becoming secure in your relationships. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that if you see yourself in this video, first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, do not shame yourself. You can do something about this. This doesn't have to be your reality forever. I have also been anxiously attached for a very long time. So everything I share here, I've also done. So no shame and no judgment here. Welcome to A Mind Like Mine, where in this channel, you are here to understand your mind, become secure in yourself and in your relationships, and become kinder towards yourself. But before we get started, my name is Andreas Materi. I'm a somatic therapist and self-worth coach. And for the last 6 years, I've been helping women to feel secure in themselves. And I'm really excited to bring you the wisdom, the knowledge, and the awareness you need for deep healing in your journey. So let's get started. These are 10 signs of anxious attachment. Number 1, you overthink their communication. You find yourself rereading messages that you've sent, noticing any change of tone, body language, choice of words. Essentially, you read between the lines even if there's nothing going on. You feel anxious because you believe there's something going on and that you're going to be rejected. And then later you feel like your emotions are too much. And what happens here is that you are constantly trying to find the hidden meaning. What did he mean by that? Is he going to leave me? And you start getting in your own head, and then you feel insecure in the relationship. And most likely, if you think about it, the other person will end up feeling suffocated because they feel like every move they make, every word they choose, they are being analyzed, and you are taking everything personally and deepening everything. So it doesn't allow them to be fully themselves because they feel like they have to walk on eggshells around you, because otherwise, if they are just being themselves and not being hyper aware, they will hurt your feelings. And this might be one of the things that pushes them away. But if you are anxiously attached, most likely you convince yourself that the reason why they are pushing away is because you are too much and you are not good enough. There's something wrong with you, but there's nothing wrong with you. You're just anxiously attached, and this can change. The anxious attachment can feel like too much, but it doesn't mean that you are too much as a person, as a woman. This takes us to sign number 2. Your mood depends on their mood and how they feel or behave towards you. Now again, talk about walking on eggshells. If he's having an off day, if he's not doing well, if he's in a mood, you immediately take on his emotions. You either feel responsible to fix them for him, or even worse, you assume that something is wrong in the relationship just because he's having an off day. You assume in that moment, is he going to leave me? Is he going to reject me? Does he still want me? Did I do something wrong? Did I say too much? And you start panicking instead of letting him have his off day, which we all have at the end of the day.
Sign number 3, you assume the worst in your partner.
And imagine for a moment, because when we're anxiously attached, we can only usually see it from our own perspective and feel our emotions so deeply that it is hard for us to see what the other person is experiencing. So imagine if we had to role reverse and you were now the person that is in a mood, and your partner, instead of being there for you to support you in your emotions or allowing you to have your emotions without making a big deal or having a bad day, they're constantly not trusting you and telling you, do you still want me? Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure we're okay? And they make everything about them instead of this moment being about you and allowing you to go through your own emotions. So now not only you have to deal with whatever is happening inside of you, but you have to also deal with the anxiety that your partner has just because you're in a bad mood or you have something going on. And the thing is, my love, if you're anxiously attached, most likely you take everything personally, you take everything to heart. And just because he's having a bad mood, even if he's angry at you, even if he's pissed off at you, It doesn't mean that just because this happens, he will leave. But if he feels like he cannot have his own moods or his own process as well, because it's always about you, then he feels like there's no space for him in the relationship. Even though you think you're making so much space for him, in reality, he feels suffocated. So remember that you don't have to take on everyone's emotions. Let him have his emotions. Continue doing your own thing. And remember that relationships do come with ups and downs. And allow those to pass as well instead of overthinking and taking it personal. Because maybe he's having a bad day at work. Maybe something is happening in his family. Maybe he's feeling down about himself. And it has nothing to do with you. So now on top of it, he's dealing with his own stuff. And he also needs to constantly reassure you, which doesn't feel very great. This usually feels like your nervous system is regulated through them. If he's okay, if he's in a good mood, you're in a good mood. If not, you're unsafe. Something is wrong. You feel like there's something dangerous happening. Sign number 4, you act impulsively. Your emotions get the best of you. You feel like when you are calm versus when you are emotional, you're almost like a completely different person. Your emotions take over. You take action, you do things, you send a message, you say things you don't mean, and then you regret it later because you react impulsively out of your emotion. This does not mean you are immature, but this is usually a trauma response. So be kind to yourself if you see these patterns coming up because they are still coming from a place of innocence and that little girl inside of you trying to be loved and feel safe. So learning how to pause in between your feelings and your reaction is going to be the first big step. And if you usually react after 0.5 seconds, and now it's taking you 1 minute to react, that is still progress, okay? One step at a time. Sign number 5, you seek reassurance often. Now, this doesn't mean that you can never ask for reassurance. You don't need to become the strong, independent woman that doesn't need anyone and that is ashamed to show any sort of weakness. But constantly asking for reassurance is signaling both to yourself and to the guy that you don't trust him, you don't trust love. And unfortunately, no amount of reassurance makes you feel reassured. You might feel relief temporarily for a short period of time. And then after a while, you need that reassurance again because you start doubting everything once again. You get into your own head. So this might look like asking, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure we're okay? Everything is okay between us? Do you still love me? You constantly need that confirmation. And no amount of it feels enough. You always come back for more. And oftentimes we might think, oh, it's because the man is not showing up the way that we need him to. That might be the case. But let me assure you that even if you have the perfect man in front of you, you might be a little bit less anxious, but you still won't feel reassured and you will still feel unsafe in the relationship and you will still show up with these behaviors because your nervous system has learned that love is unstable, therefore you cannot trust it. Sign number 6, you struggle when they need space. So usually space and ambiguity becomes very scary. Alarm bells goes off every time you feel like there is some level of space. Now, space can be physical space between you. Maybe you don't see each other as often. Space can feel maybe you don't message as often or you're not in communication as much or you feel like even though you are together, you are not as connected. You don't feel close to that person. And the truth is that with relationships, not every day is going to look the same. The relationship right now versus 10 years in, 5 years in, 1 year in, it will look different at every stage. And it doesn't mean that you don't stay close, ideally. The connection and intimacy grows even deeper by time. You need to learn how to be with and sit with that discomfort of uncertainty and space. Because at one point or another, it will happen. And the relationship cannot be like this all the time because life happens and stress happens and emotions will come up and arguments will happen. So therefore, trusting that even in difficult times, you can get through it versus immediately assume the worst, that they're going to leave you, that you're going to be rejected. And number 7, now this is a scary one because this is such a deep, deep pattern. You feel responsible for the relationship. You feel like it's constantly your job to fix things. You feel like you need to make up for the lack of the other person. And you tend to make a lot of effort and put so much importance to the relationship itself. And you don't just participate in the relationship, you literally carry it. You feel responsible to carry it. And then this will lead you by time to build resentment because you're putting in so much effort. And this is With anxious attachment, you will put relationships as one of your highest priorities compared to other attachment styles. So oftentimes you will feel like the other person is making less effort than you because you put so much energy in relationships, more maybe than needed. And you feel like everything is your fault. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. You did something wrong. You said too much. You pushed them away. And you feel like you constantly need to take action and you feel like you can't relax. You almost feel this impulse to take action very often and to reach out, and then you might end up chasing even in the relationship, which will build resentment over time. Because a relationship takes two. There's a reason why they say it takes two to tango. And if you're carrying the weight of both people, without a doubt, you're going to end up that you're the one making the most effort all the time. But you are choosing that and hurting your own feelings. Sign number 8, you prioritize them over yourself. Now, this is a tricky one because oftentimes when you're anxiously attached, you're going to feel constantly either anticipating rejection or feeling rejected or not loved enough. Maybe you feel unwanted, not desired, not good enough, you feel too much, you have too many emotions, too needy. But you don't see how you are creating a part of the problem when you are already making yourself less important than your partner or the guy you're seeing. So naturally, you are communicating to yourself that you are less worthy, and you are communicating to the other person that you are less of a priority, and they might have the best intention and love you the bits, but subconsciously, this will impact the way they show up for you, because how we see ourselves will impact how others will see us too. So then what happens? You end up feeling like you are not important, not good enough, and then you start blaming yourself because there's something wrong with you. But the issue is, it's not that there's something wrong with you, it's that you are setting up the stage and the foundation for the relationship for the other person to make themselves more important than you, because you are doing that already. So remember, you can still care about him, but that doesn't mean that you need to stop caring about you too. Both of you are important. And this is when you start ignoring your needs, becoming overly accommodating, and start losing yourself in the relationship. The next video is going to be just about this of people pleasing. So if you resonate with this, make sure to go watch it. Sign number 9. You fear rejection and abandonment deeply. You constantly have this deep-seated fear that they will lose interest, that they will leave you, unexpectedly, that something bad is going to happen, and that you're going to get rejected and hurt. And when we are operating in dating and relationships from this lens, our mind wants to be right, confirmation bias. So therefore, we create situations where we constantly feel rejected, we're constantly anticipating something bad happening, and for the other shoe to drop. Therefore, we create it and then use this as a confirmation as to why everyone leaves us. We're never chosen, we're always rejected, we're not good enough, but this is not true. And last but not least, sign number 10. You feel emotionally exhausted in relationships. Relationships for you feel like a roller coaster, constant intensity up and down. Love for you doesn't feel calm, it feels intense. It feels almost with this level of danger and fear and anxiety and panic, because you don't just savor the love that you have, you're constantly afraid to lose it. And again, this comes from childhood. So have compassion for yourself, because these patterns are coming up because there is pain inside of you and attachment trauma. And you cannot phantom people that tell you that their relationship is easy, that relationships come easily for them. Because for you, it feels like it's a big part of your life. You give so much effort, so much importance, but you always feel like it is so hard to navigate and so emotionally draining and exhausting. And my love, all of these signs are not a sign of weakness, okay? These are a sign that your nervous system learned to adapt in this way to feel safe. And just because you're anxiously attached, it doesn't mean that this is a personality trait. This is something that we can change. And that's what we will be doing in this channel. If you found this video helpful and you want more support around anxious attachment, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because we're just getting started. I will see you in the next video. And remember, ladies, be kind to yourself.